The average American eats at McDonald's about 55 times a year. Think about that for a second. That's like having Ronald McDonald as your personal chef for nearly 2 months straight. But here's the part no one talks about. What if that food isn't what you think it is? What if every bite you take is less about nutrition and more about an experiment in chemistry, marketing, and control? Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the fries that never rot, the ice cream machines that are always broken, and the nuggets that read more like a science fair project than a recipe. Stick around, because the last part, the story of someone who quit McDonald's for just 1 month, might change how you look at fast food forever. A few weeks ago, I made a mistake. Or maybe it was an experiment. I left a McDonald's burger in my car for 3 weeks. Now, if you've ever forgotten leftovers in your fridge, you know what usually happens. Within days, that once tasty meal turns into something you wouldn't touch with gloves. Mold creeps in, colors change, smells develop that can clear a room. That's what real food does. It dies. But when I finally noticed that burger sitting under my seat, I braced myself for the horror show. And yet when I picked it up, nothing. No mold, no weird smell, no change in texture. It looked almost exactly the same as the day I bought it. If I didn't know better, I could have unwrapped it and taken a bite. And here's where it gets even stranger. This isn't just my experience. Over the years, countless people have done similar accidental experiments. One man kept a McDonald's hamburger for 20 years, and it looked just as fresh as the day it was bought. In Iceland, there's an actual McDonald's meal, a burger and fries, sitting in a glass case since 2009. That's over a decade. And you know what? They still look picture perfect. Not food, more like museum artifacts. They've even set up a 24/7 live stream webcam so people can check in on it from around the world. So why doesn't it rot? Scientists have a few theories. Some say it's the extreme lack of moisture. Bacteria and mold can't grow without water. Others point to the preservatives, additives designed to keep food stable for shipping and storage, which in high amounts turn your burger into a kind of edible time capsule. A food scientist once said it's less like cooking and more like embalming. Compare this to a burger you make at home. Beef, a little salt, maybe pepper, maybe garlic, 5 or 6 ingredients, tops. That burger starts to change in 3 or 4 days because it's real food. McDonald's burgers, they have over 70 ingredients. 70. Each one designed to tweak the flavor, the texture, the shelf life, and yes, the appearance. And here's the unsettling part. If bacteria won't touch this food, if time can't seem to break it down, should we really be eating it? Because if the burger doesn't age, what is it doing inside of us? McDonald's proudly tells the world that their patties are made from 100% beef. Sounds reassuring, right? It's the kind of phrase that instantly puts doubts to rest. But here's the trick. That phrase doesn't necessarily mean what we think it does. When most of us hear 100% beef, we imagine the kind of meat you'd find at a butcher shop. Thick cuts, ground fresh, maybe even a little marbleized with fat. But what actually ends up in fast food beef patties often isn't the good stuff. It's the scraps, the trimmings, the bits of the cow that don't make it to steak dinners or high-end restaurants. And then there's the infamous controversy that exploded years ago, pink slime. If you've never heard of it, picture this. All the leftover fatty scraps of beef, the stuff that would normally be discarded, are gathered up. Then they're spun, processed, and treated with ammonia gas to kill bacteria like E. coli. What comes out is a bright, bubblegum-colored paste that looks more like Play-Doh than dinner. This lean, finely textured beef was quietly mixed into ground beef products all across the food industry for years, including fast food. When the public found out about it, the backlash was huge. Images of pink slime plastered news sites. Parents were outraged, and McDonald's had to make a statement distancing themselves from it. They eventually announced they no longer use it in their burgers, but the damage was done. The image of ammonia-washed meat paste clung to the brand. Here's where it gets really unsettling. Bacteria usually loves meat. Leave a steak out on the counter, and you'll know it within hours. But McDonald's burgers have a strange quality. Bacteria often doesn't even seem interested. Food scientists point to the low moisture content and the chemical makeup of the patties. In other words, they're so processed and preserved that they become unappetizing even for microorganisms. Think about that for a second. The very organisms designed by nature to break down food take one look at a McDonald's burger and say, nah, we're good. And yet, millions of people bite into them every single day. It's one of those paradoxes that makes you stop and wonder. If bacteria, the tiny creatures that thrive on almost anything, won't touch it, what exactly happens when we put it into our own bodies? And as strange as the beef controversy is, it's not the only illusion McDonald's has mastered. Because while some people are scared off by the burgers, others think they've found a safe alternative. But that healthy option, it might just be the biggest trick on the menu. Here's the genius of McDonald's. They know exactly how to disarm critics. For decades, they've been accused of selling junk food, so they responded with a brilliant move. They introduced a healthy menu: salads, apple slices, yogurt parfaits. Suddenly, parents felt better taking their kids there, dieters felt less guilty, and health-conscious friends couldn't veto a group trip to the Golden Arches. But here's where the illusion falls apart. The so-called healthy choices can be just as bad and in some cases worse than the classics they're meant to replace. Take the Southwest salad with crispy chicken and dressing. Sounds clean, right? But do the math, it has around 730 calories. Compare that to a Big Mac at 563 calories. You could actually eat the burger and still consume fewer calories than the salad, and that's before you add a drink or a side. Choosing the healthy option at McDonald's is like going to a casino to save money. The house always wins. Then there's the yogurt parfait. It looks so innocent. Yogurt, berries, granola, a snack that screams health and freshness. But each parfait packs around 22 grams of sugar. That's more sugar than 2 Krispy Kreme glazed donuts. Imagine eating donuts for breakfast and calling it a diet plan. That's essentially what McDonald's is selling. And don't forget the apple slices. Nature already gave us the perfect snack, but McDonald's somehow managed to make it worse. They cut up the apple, sealed it in a bag, and added preservatives to keep it from browning. The result? A fruit that looks fresher than fresh, but isn't nearly as natural. It's like plastic surgery for produce. But the psychology behind these healthy menu items is where the real manipulation happens. A marketing professor once explained it like this: the salads aren't designed to be eaten, they're designed to be seen. Their purpose is to stop one person, the health-conscious friend in the group, from vetoing McDonald's as an option. That one person who says, "Let's not go there, I'm trying to eat healthy," McDonald's silences them with a menu item they'll probably never order. It's not about nutrition, it's about perception, about creating an illusion of choice that makes everyone feel better while funneling them right back into the fries and burger cycle. And here's the sinister part: when people believe they're making a healthy choice, they often eat more. Studies show that labeling something as low-fat or healthy can cause people to consume more calories overall. McDonald's knows this. By adding salads and parfaits, they've given themselves a moral shield while quietly pulling the strings of human behavior. So next time you see someone order a salad at McDonald's, don't be fooled. It's not really about health. It's about keeping the illusion alive. But let's say you do give in to temptation and decide to order dessert instead. Maybe a McFlurry, maybe just some soft serve. Well, brace yourself, because odds are the machine will be broken. You know the drill. It's late at night. Maybe you've had a rough day, and all you want is a McFlurry or a simple cone. You pull into the drive-thru, roll down your window, and hear 6 soul-crushing words. "Sorry, the ice cream machine is down." It's become such a universal disappointment that it's practically a cultural inside joke. Memes, tweets, TikToks, entire comedy sketches. But here's the question nobody asks: why are they always broken? The truth is, most of the time, they aren't. The machines aren't actually broken, they're locked. And here's where it gets shady. McDonald's ice cream machines are made by a company called Taylor. And unlike your kitchen blender, these machines aren't simple. They're divas. Every night, they have to run a 4-hour cleaning and pasteurization cycle to make sure the dairy inside is safe. If anything goes wrong during that cycle, even something tiny, the machine shuts down completely. And here's the kicker: employees can't fix it. Only certified Taylor technicians can unlock them. Guess who makes a fortune off those repair calls? Yep, Taylor. It's a perfect system. The machines are so fragile and so complex that franchise owners are forced to pay Taylor again and again just to keep them running. Owners lose money from angry customers. Workers take the blame. Customers roll their eyes and drive off, and Taylor cashes the checks. It's gotten so ridiculous that people have actually built apps to track which McDonald's locations have working ice cream machines in real time. Think about that. The demand for McFlurries is so strong and the machines fail so often that tech startups now exist just to help desperate customers find ice cream. And the drama doesn't stop there. There have been lawsuits, franchise owners suing because they're losing business, competitors trying to create devices that bypass the error lockout codes, and McDonald's itself stepping in to squash those attempts, supposedly to protect the brand. Meanwhile, customers are still stuck hearing the same excuse: "Sorry, our ice cream machine is down." A former McDonald's worker once told me the machine's error codes are like something out of a NASA manual. Dozens of cryptic messages, each requiring a different fix. The employees can only stare at the screen like it's a modern art piece, praying it'll magically reset. It's absurd. If an airline had the same failure rate as McDonald's ice cream machines, we'd all still be traveling by horse and carriage. But here's the craziest part. For some reason, customers keep coming back. No matter how many times the machine is broken, no matter how many late-night cravings get crushed, people still try again, because hope and maybe a McFlurry dies hard. But while the ice cream machine is famous for not working, there's another item on the menu that works too well: fries. Those golden sticks of perfection. But what if I told you they don't just stay fresh for hours, they stay fresh for years? If there's one item people can't resist at McDonald's, it's the fries. Perfectly golden, perfectly salty, perfectly addictive. They've even been called the best fries in the world. But here's what most people don't know. Those fries are practically immortal. In Iceland, At the very same museum that displays the immortal burger sits a small box of McDonald's fries bought in 2009, the day the country's last McDonald's closed its doors. And here's the shocking part. They look almost identical to the day they were served. Gold, crisp, not a single spot of mold, not a single sign of decay. It's like someone pressed pause on time itself. Now compare that to fries you make at home. Cut some potatoes, fry them in oil, and leave them out. Within days, they'll soften. Within a week, they'll grow fuzz, smell terrible, and start breaking down the way real food should. That's biology. That's nature. But McDonald's fries? They just sit there, untouched, unchanging, mocking the laws of nature. A food scientist once told me that McDonald's fries are basically mummified. Here's why. Real potatoes are full of moisture and nutrients, which bacteria and mold love. But McDonald's fries go through a process that strips out moisture, adds preservatives, and changes the potato on a fundamental level. By the time they hit the fryer, they're already designed for preservation, not just taste. And when you eat them, you can feel it. One medium order contains around 230 milligrams of sodium, not the biggest number on the menu, but still enough that, combined with the oil and preservatives, it tricks your brain into wanting more. The fries are engineered to be addictive. It's not just salt, it's science. Here's the unsettling thought. Are they trying to preserve the fries, or are they trying to preserve us? Some nutritionists joke that eating a diet heavy in McDonald's fries is like slowly turning into beef jerky, heavily salted, preserved, and dried out. And there's more. People who've experimented by leaving McDonald's fries out on countertops or in containers report the same thing. After weeks, months, even years, the fries look almost the same. In some cases, they shrink a little. They harden like little potato fossils. But they never mold. They never rot. One teacher even kept a McDonald's meal for over 6 years as a classroom experiment. By the end, the burger looked dry and shrunken, but still recognizable. The fries? They looked exactly the same. Like tiny golden artifacts, untouched by time. And yet, despite all this, we keep eating them, because let's be honest, they're delicious. That salty aroma alone can pull you into the drive-thru like a tractor beam. McDonald's has mastered the art of making fries taste irresistible, but also making them last practically forever. It's one of the strangest contradictions in fast food. The food that goes bad fastest at home, fresh potatoes, becomes the food that refuses to die at McDonald's. But fries aren't the only menu item that raise eyebrows. Because if you've ever bitten into a McNugget and thought, what exactly is this? Well, you're not alone. And the truth behind those nuggets might be the strangest science project of all. It's 4 a.m. You're exhausted, maybe a little hungry, and somehow those golden little nuggets from McDonald's sound like the answer to all of life's problems. Crispy on the outside, soft on the inside, childhood in a cardboard box. But here's the question nobody really wants to ask. What exactly are you biting into? Because the truth is, McNuggets are less like food and more like a chemistry set. The ingredient list reads like a college science exam. Dimethylpolysiloxane. Ever heard of it? Probably not, but you've definitely played with it. It's the same chemical they put in silly putty. McDonald's says it's used as an anti-foaming agent in the fryer oil, but that raises the question. If you need anti-foaming chemicals just to fry your chicken, maybe it's not really chicken we're dealing with. And speaking of chicken, how much of a nugget is actual chicken? The shocking answer, only about half. The rest is fillers, corn derivatives, leavening agents, preservatives, sugar. Yes, they even add sugar to your chicken. It's like they looked at poultry and thought, what this really needs is everything but chicken. Then there's the famous nugget shapes. Did you know there are only 4? The bell, the bow tie, the ball, and the boot. That's it? Nuggets aren't shaped by accident. They're molded, pressed into identical little Tetris pieces that make them look uniform, fun, and harmless. But behind that familiar shape is a slurry of meat paste that's been whipped, stabilized, flavored, and finally breaded to look appetizing. Here's where it gets creepy. In blind taste tests, some people couldn't tell the difference between McNuggets and nuggets made from paper towels soaked in chicken broth. Actual food researchers did this experiment. The conclusion? We're not tasting chicken anymore. We're tasting salt, sugar, and nostalgia. And yet, millions of people, kids especially, eat McNuggets every single day because they're addictive, because they're comforting, because they taste like childhood memories, even if the ingredients are closer to a science fair project. But ask yourself this, if the nugget you're eating has more chemicals than a toy from the dollar store, what does that say about what we're putting into our bodies? And if you think nuggets are questionable, just wait until you hear about breakfast. Because those perfectly round fresh eggs on your McMuffin, they have more ingredients than your grandmother's entire cookie recipe. And once you hear how they're made, you may never look at breakfast the same way again. By the way, if you're finding these hidden food industry secrets as fascinating and a little terrifying as I am, hit that like button. It tells me to keep digging into these stories. And don't forget to subscribe, because the next sections are gonna blow your mind. Breakfast is supposed to be the simplest meal of the day. An egg, some toast, maybe fruit. You know exactly what's on your plate. But at McDonald's, even breakfast has been transformed into something almost unrecognizable. Let's start with the egg. A real egg needs exactly one ingredient. An egg. Crack it open, fry it, scramble it, done. But McDonald's eggs? They come with a supporting cast of nearly 20 ingredients, including preservatives, stabilizers, and something called liquid margarine that gets sprayed on during cooking. Those perfectly round, Instagram-worthy eggs you see on Egg McMuffins? They're not fresh from the shell, they're cooked in factories, frozen, then shipped in neat little discs that employees just reheat on the grill. McDonald's markets them as freshly cracked eggs. And technically they were cracked weeks ago, hundreds of miles away. By the time they hit your tray, the only thing fresh about them is the heat lamp they've been sitting under. But it gets stranger. Those fluffy scrambled eggs you see in burritos and breakfast sandwiches, they don't start as eggs at all. They arrive in giant industrial cartons filled with yellow liquid, a mixture of eggs, additives, and preservatives. Workers simply shake the carton, pour it on the grill, and cook it into a uniform yellow sheet. And here's the weirdest part. Every egg looks the same. The same size, the same shape, the same color. Nature doesn't make food like that, but factories do. McDonald's has turned breakfast into a cloning experiment, where every meal looks perfectly identical, because it has to. Consistency is the illusion of quality. Employees who've worked the breakfast shift often describe the process as less like cooking and more like assembly. They're not cracking eggs, they're heating products, they're following instructions on a box, not using ingredients from a kitchen. So next time you unwrap that McMuffin and admire the neat little circle of egg, remember this: what you're holding isn't a farm-fresh breakfast. It's a factory-made science project designed to look like breakfast. And if you think that's manipulative, just wait until you hear how McDonald's controls not just the food, but your brain. Because the real secret of McDonald's isn't on the plate, it's in the psychology that makes you crave it in the first place. McDonald's doesn't just sell food, they sell desire. And to do that, they've mastered the art of psychological manipulation. Every color, every smell, every menu board is designed to make you spend more, eat more, and come back for more. Let's start with the colors. Red and yellow. They're everywhere. The arches, the packaging, the walls. That wasn't an accident. Back in the 1960s, marketing research showed that these colors trigger hunger and excitement in the brain. Red raises your heart rate. Yellow grabs your attention. Together, they create a subtle sense of urgency, a feeling that you're hungry now and need to eat fast. It's not just branding. It's biology. Now think about the menu. Ever notice how the most profitable items are placed right at eye level? That's no coincidence. Psychologists call it menu engineering. The high-margin items, like combo meals, are placed where your eyes naturally land. The cheaper items, the so-called dollar menu, are hidden in corners, down low, or in smaller font. It's like a magician guiding your gaze so you see only what they want you to. And then there's the value meal illusion. McDonald's wants you to believe you're saving money by ordering a combo, but if you add up the prices individually, you'll often find the combo isn't a deal at all. It's just packaging. One customer broke it down and found he saved money ordering everything separately. Multiply that illusion by millions of customers, and you start to see just how profitable value can be. But the real genius, or evil genius, is in the smell. You know that irresistible French fry aroma that hits you the second you walk into a McDonald's? That's not just happy coincidence. The ventilation systems are designed to pump it into the air, strategically placed to hit your senses right as you're making a decision. That smell doesn't just make you hungry, it makes you crave McDonald's specifically. It's fast food Pavlovian training. Fries equal happiness, fries equal buy more. And then, of course, there's the upsell. Remember the old question, would you like to supersize that? That single phrase earned McDonald's millions in extra revenue. They eventually retired it after the backlash, but the tactic never disappeared. Today, it's just rebranded. Would you like to make that a large? Same trick, different words. What's so clever is that McDonald's doesn't just manipulate what you order, they manipulate how you feel. You walk away thinking you got a good deal, thinking you chose freely, when in reality, every step of the experience was engineered to funnel you into the choices McDonald's wanted you to make. And the scariest part? It works. Studies show that 70% of McDonald's customers spend more than they originally planned when they walked through the door. 70%. That's not bad luck. That's precision engineering of the human brain. So the next time you walk into McDonald's, look around, notice the colors, notice the smell, notice where your eyes land on the menu. Ask yourself, are you making choices, or are choices being made for you? Because the biggest manipulation isn't the food at all, it's the feeling that you're in control when really McDonald's has been pulling the strings all along. And if you think that's shocking, just wait until you hear what happens when you break free. Because one man tried walking away from McDonald's for just 30 days. And what happened to his body, his wallet, and his life was something even he didn't expect. Imagine eating McDonald's your whole life. The burgers, the fries, the nuggets, until it feels less like a choice and more like a routine. That was my friend Tom. He wasn't obsessed, he wasn't addicted in the medical sense. He was just like millions of people around the world, a creature of habit. A Big Mac here, some nuggets there, fries every time. He figured it didn't matter, until one day he decided to quit McDonald's for a month. At first, it was torture. He told me his car practically drove itself into the drive-thru. He'd catch himself craving fries at odd hours, reaching for his phone to order delivery before remembering his promise. McDonald's wasn't just food for him. It was comfort, convenience, a safety net. Quitting felt like breaking up with someone who always answered the phone when you needed them. But then, something incredible happened. After just a few days, his body began to change. The constant puffiness in his face started to disappear. His skin cleared up. He didn't wake up groggy and dehydrated anymore. It was as if his body was finally able to breathe again. For the second week, his wallet noticed too. He realized he'd been spending close to $200 a month on cheap meals that weren't really cheap at all. With that money staying in his pocket, he started cooking at home more often. And for the first time in years, he felt like he was in control of his meals, not the other way around. By the end of the month, the numbers spoke louder than anything else. His doctor was shocked at his blood pressure. It had dropped so dramatically, the doctor thought it was a mistake. He'd lost 11 pounds without changing a single thing in his exercise routine. No gym membership, no diet plan, just removing McDonald's from the equation. And here's the most surprising part. He didn't swear it off forever. He still goes back occasionally. He's human. Sometimes convenience wins. But now it's a choice, not a reflex. He doesn't let McDonald's dictate his habits anymore. His words stuck with me. It's like that isn't good for you. You might grab coffee with them once in a while, but you're never giving them a key to your house again. That's the reality of life after McDonald's. It's not about never eating there again. It's about waking up to the truth that you have the power to choose. And once you see the manipulation, the illusion, the tricks behind the golden arches, it's hard to unsee it. Because at the end of the day, McDonald's isn't just selling food, they're selling control. And the question is, do you really want to give it to them? McDonald's has mastered the art of food that doesn't rot, salads that aren't healthy, machines that mysteriously fail, and marketing that manipulates your brain. They're not just selling meals, they're selling illusions. So the real question is, are you eating food, or are you eating a science experiment? If that made you think twice, hit like, subscribe, and stick around, because this is just the beginning.